Hello, everyone, and welcome to another round of the Bubba Show, better known as the 2002 AMA Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championships. This afternoon, we have 125cc National Motocross for you from Broome Toyota Sports Center in Binghamton, New York. And after a lot of rain, the track is shaping up nicely. I'm your host, Davey Coombs, and joining me is former champion and Binghamton winner David Bailey and Cameron Steele. And David, the last 6 races, all James Stewart.
I've been so impressed by the way that he attacks the track. He attacks every lap. He attacks the riders. He's just like Carmichael in the 250 class. He hates to lose, and he wants this streak to continue all the way to the end.
He hates to get second place. Look at the way this guy rides. James Stewart hasn't lost an overall since the 4th round of the series at Southwick. He has a 94-point cushion on Chad Reed. David, if not for some bad breaks, he'd be going for a perfect season.
Yeah, just with a sore knee and a couple of DNFs through Mount Morris and Southwick. Otherwise, he'd be matching Ricky.
If you look at the point standings, Chad Reed is the only rider mathematically left in the equation. All Stewart needs to do is score 6 points, and he will win the championship in his rookie year. Earlier, Cameron Steele caught up with the series points leader. Talk about being #1.
Well, Davey, I'm down here in the Kawasaki pit with a guy that's poised to become the youngest champion ever motocross, James Stewart. It's getting down to the wire. Are you feeling nervous? Or are you feeling confident?
No, I'm not nervous. I felt really good in practice today. It's a little muddy out there, but you know, I didn't lose any sleep over it, and I think I feel more confidence than any other race so far.
Last week in Millville, Chad Reed got you in the first moto. Second moto, you came back and got him. Do you feel confident that you can outride him here on this muddy track?
Yeah, I mean, Chad's a good rider, but, you know, everybody's good for one good race every once in a while. And, I know I can beat him, and I still feel confidence. I didn't lose any confidence over it, and it's going to be a good race this weekend.
Talk a little bit about the track. Broome Toyota, you've never raced the full track as an amateur, and you missed practice on Saturday because of the rain. How was the track in practice today, and do you think that hinders you at all, not being able to see a lot of the track more time?
Nah, because my competition, Chad, he hasn't seen the track either, so it's his first time here. But I rode the track today, and I felt real good, and going up and down the hills. I think it's more fun riding up the hills than anything, and I feel fine on it. I like the track. I adapt to it pretty good.
Right on. Well, you can tell by the smile, he's having fun, and that's what dirt bikes are all about. Guys, I think we're looking at our youngest champion ever.
And we're also looking at a tough track here today at Broome Toyota. David, take us around the Suzuki Fast Lap.
Well, first off, we're back to the cement start. It's a long shoot down to a sharp right-hand corner. Every once in a while, you get some pileups there. They work their way up and down the hill a couple times. After the doubles, there's a new whoop section. That used to be a timing jump section. Now they've kind of made it a little trickier for the guys. The downhill is really tough today. It's getting a lot of braking bumps. A couple of lines at the bottom. And there you can see the intense concentration of James Stewart, who did not choose the far inside gate. I've rarely seen that. The guy that has the first pick always goes all the way to the right. James chose the second one over.
Chad Reed lined up right beside him. But the guy on the inside is Team Honda's Ernesto Fonseca. Take a look at our Suzuki starting lineup. Of course, Stewart at the top of the pack. Then you have Reed, Brandon Jessman, who slipped back to 3rd in the standings. Fonseca on that far inside gate. Matt Walker, been on a real good roll lately for the Simple Green Pro Circuit team. Billy Lanovich, don't count out that rookie. A little further down, you see some of the privateers. Randy Valet. I understand I said his name wrong last week, but sorry about that to all the Michigan faithful. Now, the car to sideways. We are getting ready to start the first 125 moto from Broome Toyota. You see the new announcers tower in the back. They are getting ready to light off that concrete start, and there they go. And you can see them getting back on the bikes, plowing through that mud, and the whole shot is going to come from the second gate over. Stewart picked right.
Unbelievable. This kid was taking a big risk by leaving somebody on both sides of him.
And you see Chad Reed, who was beside him, comes out in second, so they must have shut down Fonseca on the inside. So here it is, Reed in second. Reed comes in on the inside, and it looks like he makes the block pass. They do the downhill double. Reed quickly asserting himself and putting a move on James Stewart. Brandon Jessman is your 3rd place rider. So right there you have it. Second in the standings, first, and then the 3rd place rider, Brandon Jessman.
They have done an amazing job of getting this track in this good a condition right now. You see this guy's getting a little squirrely in there in the whoops from the ruts, but they've pushed all the mud off to the sides. If you'd have seen this place yesterday, you thought, no way is the race going to look this good. big advantage to be up front because in that first lap, there still are some soft spots that they just found. It's just going to ruin all their tear-offs in the first couple laps.
Tough jump in that little double, but the first 3 get it done. Stewart choosing to go all green this week. Kind of a different look for James from what he's been doing lately. You see him get a little problem coming on that corner. Let's take a look at the start again. You see Stewart almost hit Reed.
Yeah, he came from pretty far to the right. Looked like he had just made sure that Fonseca had no way around him. Then he moved back out to set himself up for the corner. But in the process, kind of went right in front of Reed. Reed's going, you know what? I didn't like that. Right back at you, up to the inside. He had that plan coming up the hill, and Stewart, even though he railed that outside, it wasn't fast enough. And now Reed is doing the same thing he did at Millville, getting back in the game, and I'm glad to see some fight in him. I thought he was just going to roll over and let Stewart have it after Unadilla.
Right there, Stewart stuck the KX 125 into that berm. He was lucky he didn't get hung up. Guys having problems this morning in the heat races and qualifiers. So Reed from Australia in his first visit to Broome Tioga is out front. But guess what? James Stewart's not been here either, at least not as a pro. He is in second.
And how's that? The first 2 positions occupied by guys that have the least experience on this racetrack, and the guy that has a little bit of time on this track under his belt is running third, Jessamine. He got terrible starts, went down, was frustrated by not being able to pass people at Millville, and here he's got to look at these guys, but he's starting to lose some ground.
Well, you've seen that all year long, David. Jessamine gets a good start, and the rare times that he does, he loses contact with the leaders. And speaking of the leaders, let's go down to Cameron Steele. He is with James Stewart's mechanic.
Jeremy, it's unlike Bubba to get a hole shot and then go backwards. Chad Reed get in front of him. Is this strategy for the championship?
No, I mean, he knows, you know, we basically only get 14th if Chad Reed wins. So, you know, in the back of his mind, we just got to ride smart. He's got to just take his time, and, you know, he doesn't want to blow it like he did before, and he's doing a great job right now and doing the best he can. So, I know he wants to win. He's not giving up, but he's just got to settle down and, you know, do what he's doing.
It seems like Bubba and Chad have kind of had this ongoing battle this year. Is it fun? I mean, how serious are these guys at each other's throats?
Well, it's got a lot better lately. I mean, you know, for a while they both kind of start different spots, but it's definitely getting better, and the race is getting good for TV, so I don't like it, though.
Right on, thanks.
And you can hear that time, or rather you can see that time, they didn't jump that uphill double, so the track, while it's much better than it was, it is also deteriorating as they go around.
Yeah, they're going to be taking the first few laps trying to get the lines sorted out, because each time these guys go around, 38 more guys come and hit that same section of the track and then moves everything around. Some of the stuff is still kind of soft, while other areas are starting to dry out a little bit. So you have to be really on top of things and be creative. James is in a great position to be able to just sort of key off of what Reed's doing, do his own things, but then pick up on anything Reed might have. He doesn't have any pressure from Jessamine right now, so he can just stay back there and save his vision. Although I know that this tear-off system, those film strips he tears off for clean vision, he can run up to 28 of those things and still see pretty clear at the beginning.
Ouch. Brandon Jessamine coming up short on that double. Jessamine now about 6 seconds behind the leaders, and he does a couple more of those, David, and he's going to be even further back.
Yeah, he's trying really hard just to try to stay with those guys, and he knows that he needs to work on the beginning of his race. He's got the speed at the end, but he needs it now.
We'll be right back. Reed leads Stewart from Broome Tioga. Speed World's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. And by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. Well, there's your leader, Chad Reed. It is between him and James Stewart now, as third place Brandon Jessamine has dropped slightly off the pace. And we have seen some pretty dramatic stuff between these two, and it looks, David Bailey, like it's starting to get closer again.
Yeah, Stewart has learned all he needs to know. He's starting to get comfortable. You can see he's got some different lines.
Almost on the inside there, sorry.
Yeah, he's just letting Reed know, okay, I got you and we can raise you one, so step it up or you're going to have to give it up.
Down the bottom of the hill, Stewart closing in there. You see his mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht, putting out the "Be Smooth, You Can Do It" sign. These guys have had an amazing summer together, winning 6 nationals in a row and 8 of the first 10. And now they're closing in on that championship. And it would be Jeremy Albrecht's first championship since he and Jeff Emmett got the 250 national title back in 1997 for the second time together.
I'm so glad to see Reed up there fighting like this, really putting a challenge to Stewart. You know, and I have to think back to his interview at Millville. I'm really impressed with the poise that Reed's been able to keep.
Whoa, whoa, man. Right when you mentioned that, David, about his poise, he just threw it away from about 2 stories above the Broome-Tioga track. Looks like he got cross-rutted, and now it looks like he's got a problem with the bike, too.
Yeah, he broke the front brake lever off. You can see the handguard dangling. It's just, I hope that doesn't get stuck in his front wheel. What a bummer.
At least he's okay.
Yeah, he's just talking about getting better from the shoulder. And, you know, going back to that interview he had in Millville, it wasn't like he was snapping back at anybody, just going, hey, you know, I haven't been able to ride quite like this because I've been injured. Watch this. He gets probably cross-rutted here a little bit. He wheelies into that. There's ruts going up the face. The back end catches one to the outside. It looks like a great whip, but he didn't mean it. His legs just buckled. Luckily, he just sort of folded, and Stewart wasn't so close that he got collected.
Good thing Stewart wasn't committed there. That would have been bad. Now check this out from the other side of the track. This is privateer Casey Clark. Watch that.
Just stabs his foot in the ground, and it throws him off the high side of the bike. He runs next to it, does a knack-knack, of course unintentional, just like Reed's deal. Jumps back on, a little bit more fortunate than Reed, and keeps going. This track is getting tough, and it's starting to reach up and grab these guys, and that front brake dangling is bothering me. I wish Reed would pull in and fix that.
Now there goes Eric Sorby. He is your 4th place rider. Reed is still in 3rd even after that big crash. And speaking of Chad Reed, let's go down the mechanics area. Cameron Steele's with his mechanic, Davey Dye.
Dave, we saw Chad crash. What happened? It looks like something's dangling from the motorcycle.
Yeah, he broke the front brake off, so we're going to try to either cut it off or do something before it hurts him.
So is it harder for him to ride? I mean, there's a lot of uphill and downhill here, and the mud's definitely something that's a little more difficult. Will it really inhibit his race?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Front brake's crucial here, all the downhills and getting into the berms, and so, you know, sucks, but go with it.
That's racing.
Yep.
He's actually pretty lucky, you know, that because the ground is so soft, and when you let off the power, it just sort of soaks you up as though you did put on the brakes. What bothers me, though, is the fact that it's dangling. That's wrecking his concentration, which is, I think, what might have happened in the first place. I just talked about how Stewart was applying the pressure. He decided, okay, it's time to make his move. He applied the pressure, and maybe Reed felt that and wasn't focusing, but he's looking at the mechanics area to just say, hey, get this thing fixed. I'm pulling in.
There he gave a signal. It looks like he's coming around, and that thing gets caught in his front wheel, goes through the spokes, and it is going to be a big endo. But they're going to take the precautions. The right thing to do, he's going to lose some spots, but at least he'll probably be a little safer. He doesn't have a front brake at all now. They cut it off probably right by the number plate. It looks like something's still hanging off there, but it's not something that caught up in his front wheel. Now, back up front, 3rd place is now Eric Sorby. Danny Smith is 4th. Ernesto Fonseca is 5th. There you see Factory Connections, Mike Byrne, and then Chad Reed is 7th. Let's go back down to Cameron in the pit area.
Guys, I'm here with Dave Dye, Chad Reed's mechanic. We saw Chad go down, broke a part of his bike. I saw him pull into the pits. What happened?
I snapped the front brake off, and, you know, instead of it dangling, sitting there, beating him to death, we cut it off. So we can finish the race at least.
Talk about riding the race here in the mud, the uphill, the downhill. I mean, it's tough. Being one of the fastest guys in the world, no brakes, it's got to be even tougher with these conditions.
Yeah, it's tough anyway, and without a front brake, it's even tougher. So he's going to push it, though, and see what we can end up with. Get as many points as we can.
See Fonseca coming down the inside of Southwick winner Danny Smith, and Danny looked over and knew right there he had no place to go, so he gives up that spot. But Sorby doing a good job of running in 3rd. It's been kind of hit or miss for Eric Sorby all summer, hasn't it, Dave?
That has, and it's not for a lack of effort, you know, because he tries so hard. He puts a lot into it when he's out there riding. He uses a lot of energy, and he's definitely got the speed. That's how deep those ruts are.
That's Buddy Antunes right there. You're right. He gets stuck, and he kind of holds up Brock Sellards as well. But back to the front of the pack. James Stewart is now within a few laps of what would be obviously his first national championship. He's a rookie, but this would also make him the youngest national champion ever. We will take a look back to one of the oldest riders in the field, Antonez.
Well, he lost his footing on the inside. You couldn't quite see that, but you could see that the berm was so deep that his left foot actually got yanked off the peg. So he was just riding around that berm, kind of hanging back with both feet behind the pegs. And once they get back there, if anything happens to the front end, you're going down.
Now back up to Stewart, as I was saying, he would be the youngest rider ever to win this championship if he could just hold on a few more laps here at Broome, Tioga. They called Brock Glover the Golden Boy, as much for his surfer blonde hair as for his almost perfect riding style. Climbing up through the ranks of the talent-rich El Cajon area of Southern California, Glover made a name for himself on the West Coast high school motocross circuits of the early 1970s before turning professional in 1976. Brock was hired by Yamaha prior to the 77th season, and that very same year, he would win the first of his record 6 AMA Outdoor National titles. Glover would enjoy a long and successful career with Yamaha in America, winning more than 36 major races. But he spent his last season racing in Europe for KTM, where he would enjoy a victory in the last moto of his career, the 1989 250cc Grand Prix of Austria. Brock Glover is still involved with the motorcycle industry in America. He is the Dunlop Tire Senior Manager for Motorcycle Racing Off-Road Division. David, Brock Glover's a man you had a lot of battles with, huh?
We battled here a couple times and had to put one of the most incredible passes I've ever put on anybody on the downhill. I couldn't believe I saved it. He couldn't believe it either. And I was basically cheating. I was on a works Honda. He was on a production Yamaha, and it wasn't really fair that year, but I got a lot of wins from him. But in the end, he's got more 500 wins than I do, and 6 national championships. He's still a great guy to hang out with. And if you want a bench race, just go approach Brock, man. You'll get an earful.
A champion in everything he does, including bench racing. Now, Fonseca on the inside. This is the battle for third, and Sorby strikes right back. And now it's a drag race over to the top of the hill, and Fonseca's got him. That's the same place, basically. He passed Danny Smith. Fonseca's showing some real aggressiveness coming down that hill, and now comes Sorby on the inside, and he can't make the pass stick. So Fonseca climbs through to third place. Looks like he's moving forward, David.
Well, you know, they had a break in the season a little while back, and he went down and spent some time with Carmichael. And I talked about that just, it was before Redbud. And I thought his expectations coming out of that trip might have just been a little bit too high after spending some time with Ricky and going, all right, let's see what he does. I want to win. I'm going to try a little bit harder. And he had a lot of crashes and little mistakes, but it looks like it's starting to come back together again now.
And Reed has another problem, and that time, David, that's got to be because he doesn't have a front brake. Couldn't get stopped for the corner, and he goes right in the deep stuff. And just like that, 2 guys go by, Michael Byrne and Brock Sellers.
Well, I talked about, you know, without a front brake here, it's not that bad, but if you're in a battle with these guys, there's no way in the world you're going to get those guys back without a front brake. And he's just paddling into that corner. That probably was because of the front brake. Finally gets it going, but he loses those positions, and he can kiss those goodbye.
Looked like he may have almost stalled the motor right there, the way he was kicking with his feet. But Chad Reed now back to 8th. He was first, he crashed, stopped in the mechanics area, and then you just saw him get hung up in the mud. Not a great moto for him. But Brandon Jessman having an excellent moto as far as winning his first moto of the season. Doesn't look like it's going to be this time out because James Stewart is just flat checked out.
Yeah, he's running out of time to try to get that overall win. For a while there, it was looking really good. Then he came into Millville, and just bad starts, frustrating, trying to pass some guys. There goes Larry Ward. I talked to him, and I was like, how do you almost win a race and then go to the next week and get a 14th and a 15th? He goes, man, it was just nothing wrong. You know, I'm not saying anything bad about the track. It was just hard to pass. Once you get a start back there, this 125 class is so deep in talent that you're pretty much stuck where you start unless you're exceptional that day.
Now Ward is trying to pass Chad Reed, and Chad Reed, well, that time you can't blame him on the front brake. He just got off his line there.
Yeah, these ruts are getting good, and you know, I am glad to see that they leave this stuff a little bit. I've been kind of I don't know, maybe a little bit hard on the Nationals a little bit, just figuring that they're...
The tracks are too good. They're overgroomed.
Smoothing them out so much. And finally, we're getting a tough track, and you're seeing some of the best riders in the world making little mistakes here and there and create passing opportunities. And I think that's great.
Right there, Reed goes off the line again. So he lost 3 spots on that lap with basically errors in corners, some of them from the front brake, but that one going up a hill couldn't have been. But up front, James Stewart on his way to his 14th Moto win. He's already got the rookie record for wins in a season. He's closing in on Steve Lamson's all-time record. It's just been a great season for James Stewart. Who could have expected this from a kid out of Florida who turned 16 on December 21st last winter?
Well, he lost the Supercross series, and I thought he might carry some of that into the outdoors, but just like Carmichael in his rookie season, lost the indoors, learned his lesson, came outdoors, and won on his first try.
And we saw Travis Pastrana do the same thing. Let's go to Cameron down the pits.
Davey and David, I'm down here in the pits with Big James. Your son, James Stewart, closing in on his first ever professional title. Is there nerves here? I mean, are you excited? What's going through your mind?
Oh, I'm definitely excited. You know, it's just been a dream so far come true. I just want to say I want to thank all the fans that believed in us from the beginning and stuck with us, and all the ones who doubted us, jump on the bandwagon because we believe in you guys.
Right on. How exciting is it to be here with that first championship?
I'm very excited. You know, I'm really speechless, to be honest with you. It's just, I don't really know what to say. You know, I mean, it's just, I'm just so happy.
You can see he's excited. David Bailey, you can probably give us a little insight on that first championship yourself.
It's a pretty special feeling, and it's something you dream of, just like Big James was saying. And, you know, I hadn't won a race until that year in 1983, and then I won the championship. I won both indoors and outdoors, and it took a while for it to sink in for me to really believe that I was as fast as the records showed. And this kid's going through the same thing. He's had a while to sort of savor this points lead, though. Mine, I only won by a couple points over Barnett.
Well, you can see the fans giving their approval to the new king of the 125 class in America, James Stewart. And like Papa Stewart said, jump on the bandwagon. This guy is going to leave no doubt about his performance in his rookie year. He's already beaten Carmichael's record, and now he is #1. James Stewart, your 2002 AMA Chevy Trucks 125 national champion. When we return, we'll be talking to the new #1, James Bubba Stewart.
Last time.
All right, good job.
Well, a couple old friends getting together. Jeff Emig and his old mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht. And Emig is all retired from professional racing now, and J-Bone is working with this young man, James Stewart, and they just got themselves a national championship. Let's go down to Cameron Steele in the winner's circle.
Ernie, well, normally I'd ask you some kind of technical question, but just looking at you, you're covered with dirt on your jersey there. It was a tough race, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really get off to the start that I wanted, but, you know, I worked my way up there. My Honda's working great, and I passed Danny Smith, and then I passed Sorby, and just tried to, you know, hold him up the last couple laps, but it's kind of tough. The track is kind of one line, I mean, with all the rain yesterday, but the guys over here did the best they could, and, you know, it's a lot better than it could have been.
Well, you've had the speed all season long. Now another podium in the first moto. You think we're going to see you win some motos here at the end of the season?
I hope. I mean, you know, we still have 3 more motos left, and it's not over. You can't just give up before the year's over. So I'm going to try my best, and hopefully I can put the Honda at the top of the podium.
Right on. Never say die. Thanks, Ernie.
Thanks.
We'll take a look at our final results from the first moto. Stewart, of course, your winner. Brandon Jessman second. Fonseca, Sorby, and Danny Smith round out the top 5. Mike Byrne able to get 6th, and Chad Reed, lost front brake and everything, finishes 9th. Let's go back to Cameron with our new national champion.
Well, guys, right here is James Bubba Stewart, the youngest ever champion in motocross. James, your mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht's been waiting since 1997 to get another championship. You have got to be pumped in your first year in motocross.
Yeah, man, I was nervous on the gate. I didn't want to say nothing, but I was nervous. But, you know, when I got behind Chad, I mean, I felt good. I was just riding behind him, and he's making a lot of mistakes. I knew he was going to crash out there, and, you know, I'm so happy.
So happy you can hardly talk. I mean, the battle's been Chad Reed, been Brandon Jessman. How much have have you been focusing on the championship?
No, I mean, I just go race by race, and I'm glad to wrap it up in the first moto. I wish I'd have done it last week, but I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
Jeremy, the last time was with Jeff Emig. Talk about the differences in these riders, and the first time out for James Stewart, you have to be impressed.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I mean, age is a huge difference. Emig kind of waited later in his career to do it, so yeah, it's been great. It's a lot of fun working with him, you know, kind of learning with him, and it's kind of cool pointing out where to go on the track because he didn't even know where to go, so it's great. It's been awesome.
Right on. Well, 11 amateur championships, your first pro championship. Talk about what the future holds for James Stewart. I mean, you have to go through another moto today, too. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, it's pressure's off me now, and shoot, this one championship feels better than all those 11 amateur championships. And hopefully I can go to Supercross next year and win it, but I want to get this next moto, and we'll see next weekend.
Well, it's all gravy from here for James Stewart. James, here it is, your first #1 jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, champion James Bubba Stewart.
Man, David Bailey, it really drives home just how old he is when you look at those braces behind that big smile.
Just think how fast he's going to be when he gets those off.
Taking a look at the laps led so far this year, James Stewart almost 4 times as many as Chad Reed. They said it was going to be a close fight. It has been for second. And when you take a look at the Stewart file and the records he's starting to get, he is breaking some of Ricky Carmichael's very early records. Can't wait to see what this kid does next. Let's go back down to Cameron in the winner's circle.
Brandon, for a while there, we were getting used to seeing you on the podium. Last week, just kind of faltered. Nothing went right for you. But this week, back in second place, that has to feel good in Moto #1.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I can't thank my Sobe Suzuki with my Michelin tires coming out to a great start. And my RG3 suspension worked great out there with all the, you know, it's getting really rough and a lot of ruts and stuff. And my stock August, I could see great the whole motor too. So, I mean, just got to go out, get a good start next moto, and stay on 2 wheels.
Well, I want to ask you something a little bit different. You're in the battle for second place in the points with Chad Reed now. You guys are very close. I want to ask you about James Stewart. Racing with him this year, watching him, he's won his championship. Your thoughts on James, just the overall year on the 125?
Well, James is a great rider, you know. I mean, came in this season with a lot of speed, and we couldn't see him do, you know, catch him. So, I mean, he deserved to win. He's a great racer, and I'm just trying to go out to these next last 3 races here and go out and try to beat him.
No pressure now, but that second place in the championship points, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's my goal, to get second in the points here. So just go out and do my best and hope that I'll be on top.
Matt, thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Well, Tommy Hurd and his Broom Tioga crew have done an amazing job here. This was the scene yesterday. They were trying to rescue the pit area, but the women had to go out and race in the mud. And these are highlights from, well, the muddiest race of the year, but only the girls went out on the track. Your winner from Michigan, where they know how to ride the mud, was Sarah Whitmore. We will have complete highlights of the final round of the WML Series from Steel City next weekend. The championship has been decided here at Broom Tioga. James Stewart is #1, but there is another moto of racing to go. Let's go down to Cameron Steele in front of the starting gate.
We're loading the gate for moto #2 in the 125cc class. I talked to most of the riders, their mechanics in between motos, and asked them what they're going to be changing on the motorcycles. All the guys in the top 4 said we're going to a tire that's better for the harder terrain. It's getting drier out here. Earlier in the day, I spoke with Ricky Johnson, former national champion. He said this track is one of the toughest tracks to get your tire right for. So the guys are all trying something a little different in moto #2. Also, Eric Sorby changes jetting, just looking for a little bit more speed. We'll see if it gives him enough to go from 4th to 1st. Should be an exciting moto.
Taking a look at our Suzuki starting lineup, Stewart, Reed, Jessman, Fonseca, all the principals up there. Keeping an eye out for Larry Ward. He's been on this track for 16 years, and we've already seen what he can do at Washougal. Maybe he can make lightning strike again and get a moto win before this season ends. Now, down on the starting gate, they are queued up. The cart is sideways. You see some of the smoke coming up off the gate. And any second now, we will be ready to go. And here they come, right up the inside. It looks like this time it's maybe Fonseca with a better jump. And Fonseca's going to hold the whole shot. The Hun on the inside, a rider goes down. But Fonseca's got the lead. Then there's Sorby, Sellards, Jessamine. And it looks like Stewart comes out in fifth. Oh, and on the other side of the track, you saw a rider taking a shortcut. And he hit that deep mud, and over the bars he went. Okay, Sellards, the leader on the KTM. There goes Reed on the inside. So Chad Reed also got off with that good pack down the double, and he is going to try to avenge himself from that first moto. He went from first all the way back to ninth, including that pit stop, and now he's working on Brock Sellards, seventh in the first moto as they come right toward the camera. Fonseca is third. Stewart is fourth. There's Sorby, there's Jessamine, and Sellards goes off the side of the whoops a little bit, but he's able to get back in there in time.
Just enough to stay ahead of Chad Reed. Stewart back there in fourth, doing an amazing job of getting that close up to the front of the field after getting smoked off the gate. He spun right away. You can tell it was a bad start. There goes Reed.
Up the hill, Reed uses the power of the YZ250F to get by the Red Bull KTM of Sellards, and right then you saw Stewart also go by. So the guys who had the battle in the first moto are getting back up there here in the second moto. You can see how much rougher the track's gotten. Right there, Stewart goes by Sellards. So there you have it. It's a replay of the first moto, at least the early part. Reed out front, Stewart is second, Sellards, Fonseca, Sorby, and there Jessamine gets a little squirrely back in sixth.
Now watch that Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider. I think that might be Matt Walker. He gets pushed wide, goes around the banners. He's the one that ended up finding some mud and went over the handlebars.
That might have been Shane Bentley, but it was hard to tell. He was the one who was trying to come back on the track. You see the pile up in the first turn, but as he tried to come back on, over the bars he went. Now here's the pass on Sellards.
Well, Sellards just left that door open just a little bit too wide. He went out to hit the berm and set himself up. Now we'll know. Yeah, it was Matt Walker.
It was Matt Walker, and look at that. That bike is stuck.
Well, he hit that third gear going pretty good, trying to just merge back in with the moto, and just belly flopped right over the front. I'm glad he's okay, but that's just Matt's luck, man. He has one good race and one stupid one like that. And it's just that kind of a gear for him, but think of how Chad Reed feels. He hasn't had the best luck either.
Now the battle's on for first. You can hear the fans cheer, and Reed takes a look back over his shoulder at Stewart as they come right down into the camera.
Watch how fast Stewart is all over him. He's just on his rear tire, staying just out of his roots, always trying to make something happen, and he makes you so nervous. You're just going, God, I can't take this pressure anymore.
He also low jumps and scrubs that speed like we talked about last week at Melbourne. Right there, he almost got over into the mechanics. So at the end of the first lap, Reed is able to hold off the new national champion. You see the flagmen out there. They're signaling for Walker, who remains stuck in that mud, and that gives you an idea of just how much mud they pushed off. Now, back up into the infield of the track. There is Reed, and Stewart comes along the inside, and Stewart strikes back. That is the same spot where Reed passed him in the first moto. You think Stewart was waiting for that, David?
I think so. You know, he seems to do that kind of stuff. That's what Ricky used to do, Jeremy, all the great riders, Hannah. They would get past somewhere and then use that same section to come back later on with an answer of their own and go, okay.
Kind of puts an exclamation point on it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Look at the lead. He's already starting to open up. It's just amazing the speed he's attacked his second moto with.
That's been the danger of Stewart all year long. He gets a little opening, and there he goes.
See him scrub that. He almost drug his foot peg off that jump. He got a little too close. He goes, okay, I'll go wide, hit the berm early, square it off. And Reed's just like, whoa, what the heck did that come from?
And Reed wasn't that far outside.
No, he was minding his own business going through there what he thought was probably a good enough pace to hold off Stewart, no problem.
Whoa, and Fonseca tries to get an elbow in on Sorby, and he goes down. Fonseca trying a similar move, but he tried it coming down the hill, and Sorby didn't give, but the Honda did.
Once they bumped a little bit, it pushed him to the inside. His front end washed out.
James Stewart back out front, and we will be back in a moment. When the 1998 125 National Championships reached Boone Tioga, Ricky Carmichael had been in complete control, winning 6 Nationals coming into the race. The defending champion had some problems on the always difficult New York track, and veteran John Dowd was able to get in front of Carmichael and hold him off to score the first moto win. Carmichael's problems continued in the second moto. Right off the start, Carmichael got loose, hit, and high-sided, effectively ruining his chances to win his 7th straight national. He climbed through the pack, but he ran out of time. Up at the front, Suzuki's Robbie Raynard was battling with Casey Johnson for the moto win, and in fact took it. However, it was the 30-something John Dowd, steady in both motos, who was able to lock up the overall win and stop Ricky Carmichael's winning streak. Ironically, James Stewart has the same streak today. Back to the action at hand, you are looking at Eric Sorby, who leads Brandon Jessamine as they go into the back section of what's becoming a very rough Broomtago track. And right there, Jessamine inside out. Now it's a drag race at the top of the hill, and he will make that pass to Jessamine, who lives in nearby Pennsylvania. He's been a regular here growing up throughout his career, but Sorby, like Chad Reed and James Stewart, is seeing this track for the very first time.
Yeah, Jessamine does have a lot of experience here. He knows how the dirt forms. He knows where the berms end up late in the day. And although Sorby has that European experience, very creative out there, he doesn't quite have the experience in this track that Jessamine does. And there you see Fonseca jumping down to the inside, giving a little nudge to Sorby earlier, but when he got bumped, Fonseca actually went back into the inside. His front end washed out on the inside of that rut. He made a good recovery. He lost a couple positions, though, and then Jessamine taking advantage of Sorby, trying to create something for himself. Didn't realize Jessamine was so close.
So Jessamine moves into 4th. He was your runner-up in the first moto. Sorby was 4th in the first moto, and now he is back to 5th. You see Jessamine come down the hill. He has a way to go if he's going to get back into the top 3. Now, a little further back, Christopher Gosler running in 8th. There you see Danny Smith and Travis Preston, the 125 West Region Supercross champion, coming down the long hill. And a lot of bumping and grinding going on at the bottom of that hill, David.
Well, you've heard a couple of guys talk about the fact that, you know, just the nature of the weather here has just made the track in spots one line, but at the bottom of that hill you can outbrake people even though it's a one-line turn to the bottom. If you get there first, that's your pass. I talked about putting just an incredible pass on Brock Glover back in 1984. That's where I did it, right at the bottom of the hill.
Did you hit him?
Actually, I didn't touch him, but I planned on just crashing. I didn't want to hit him. I'm like, oh, he'll be so mad, so I figured I'd just lay it down. We both came in way too hot. Somehow I stayed up. He went way wide, and I grabbed the lead and never let him have it back. Kept my streak alive.
Oh, and Jessamine went down in the corner right out of the mechanics area, and he is going to lose at least one spot. Sorby goes by and Fonseca, so he is going to have to pass those 2 riders back all over again.
That's such a bummer when you've just worked so hard to get past a couple guys, or even just holding them off, and then just a dumb mistake and you got to do it over again. You know, they already know where you got them the first time, so you got to work twice as hard to get around them the next time.
There you see Fonseca take the high line, trying to get around Sorby, comes in on the inside. This is where they hit that new whoop section that's been added this year. But Fonseca, oh, and Fonseca makes a mistake, and now Jessamine gets him right back, so he gave that spot right back to Jessamine, and Brandon moves into 5th.
Yeah, that totally, like I said, it just wrecks your whole focus and your momentum. Your rhythm's all off. He was trying to do something a little bit more to get back in there. There's another, came around the outside to make that pass. Nice, strong move by Danny Smith. Usually it's, you can outbreak the guy coming down the inside, but he planned ahead right there and just caught Gosler cruising into the corner.
Now back up to the front of the pack, this is James Stewart, and it looks like James lost a little bit of armor there. His chest pro hanging up. First mistake we've seen this moto for James Stewart. We will be right back to see how it turns out here at Broome Tioga. Speedworld's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. And by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. See a young fan enjoying a snow cone there. It looked like it was going to be muddy today, but it turned out to be sunny, and now it looks like Eric Sorby, it looks like his parade is being rained on. Sorby, you can see how depressed he is, out of the race. We'll have to try and figure out what happened there, but now we're on the last lap. Chad Reed in second, coming around the go, and Brock Sellards, our third-place rider, goes down. He's able to get back up quickly. Let's go down to Cameron Steele.
Well, you never know who you're going to catch up with in pit row. Today, former national Supercross champion Jeff Emig. Jeff, I got to ask you, what does it take to get that national championship? The outdoor motocross is so tough, so many races, so many guys, and so unpredictable.
Yeah, there's so many different parts to it. You know, it starts with building a good bike in the off season, and as far as the motocross championship is building confidence throughout the Supercross championship, whether when the motocross championship starts, that you're getting wins early. But I came from behind in a couple of championships, and it takes a lot of luck and a lot of hard work. I tell you, you get out here to the motocross and it's hot, and, you know, there's 35-minute motos, and a lot can happen. And you know, so I think that's why it's so amazing that a guy like RC is doing what he's doing this year.
Well, David, if not for that chest pro, it really would have been a perfect day.
Yeah, he's running prototype stuff. Who knows what they got going on there? But these gear companies put 100-mile-an-hour hardware in that stuff. And I think James is going 120.
Well, he is about to put the cap on his 7th straight overall win, his 9th in the series, right across the finish line. James Stewart, just a perfect day, gets himself the overall win, the national championship. Chad Reed takes second, then Sellards, Jessamine Fonseca. Michael Byrne holds on for a solid 6th. Antonez is 9th. Andrew Short 10th. Gosler slipping back to 11th. Justin Buckaloo at 15th. And rounding out your top 20, Randy Vellotti. Let's go down to Cameron.
Well, as you can see, we're here in Victory Circle with James Stewart, who went 1-1 on the day. And I think we ought to get right to this. Motocross manager Duke Finch from the AMA is here to present the #1 plate.
James, congratulations on behalf of the AMA and all your fans. I'm sure this is just the first of many.
Brock, any particular part? Thanks. I mean, it's been a heck of a season, Supercross and outdoor. I mean, outdoor, I finally got it. I mean, it was a lot of hard work, I mean, at the house and, you know, getting hurt and a couple DNFs, but, I mean, my Cali pulled it through, and I'd like to thank everybody. Thanks, Duke.
Hey, Duke, I want to ask you real quick. He's a rookie sensation coming in. I mean, everybody knew he was going to be fast, but did you think that this is what was going to happen with James Stewart?
After the first couple times I got a chance to watch James ride, and the corner speed that he carries is just phenomenal. A couple years from now, Ricky's going to have something to worry about.
Right on. Well, now, James, it's time to be excited. You won the championship. You won both races here today. All it's left to do is take the record for most wins in a 125 season, maybe next week at Steel City.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, my Kawasaki's been working awesome out here, and I feel really good. I felt good today all day long, and we're going to do it at Steel City.
Right on, everyone. Your youngest champion ever in AMA motocross history, James Bubba Stewart.
Well, that Stewart versus Carmichael battle is something that we are all going to be looking forward to. James Stewart, your overall winner. Brandon Jessamine with that 2-4. Good for a solid 2nd overall, and he gets closer to Chad Reed. And right now, he's down there with Cameron Steele in the winner's circle.
Well, on the day, a 2nd overall, a 2nd place in Moto 1, a 4th place in Moto 2. But Brandon Jessamine, you look a little disappointed.
Yeah, I am. I mean, my Sobe Suzuki got me out to a great start along with Fly and my Michelin tires and RG3 suspension, but everything's working well. I just made a few mistakes out there. I went down, slipped down in a corner, and I lost a couple of positions. I had to pass back, but I just got to get a little better start and get out there with James and run with him because, I mean, the kid goes fast.
Definitely. We saw you with a little slip. Did you actually fall over during the moto?
Yes, I did. I fell over, probably lost about 5 or 10 seconds. And when you lose that much time, it's like it's so hard to make it back up.
Right on. We look forward to seeing you next week, Brandon.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Well, now that Stewart has clinched the championship, the battle for the last round at Steel City is going to be between Chad Reed and Brandon Jessamine. 4 points separates them from the runner-up position in the final standings. Well, David Bailey, a lot of people can't wait to see this guy race Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait a long time. I can't imagine where we're going to see that. Probably going to have to wait till 04, maybe the U.S. Open next year.
Right here you see Ricky Carmichael spraying down his young future competitor.
I don't mind waiting. Just let the suspense build and let James get a little bit more mature so he can handle Ricky, because right now Ricky's got the edge.
Well, for David Bailey and Cameron Steele, this is Davey Coombs saying so long, everyone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.